Well, greetings, world, and greetings, Seven Spot, and greetings, everyone, everywhere, especially all the people who are in love with carbon fiber. And that's what we're here to talk about today, because we have a special guest, and I'm going to bring him in right now. It's David Lale of Classic Carbon. How are you today, David?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Doing really good. We're having a
So,
nice little chat about all the different types of carbon, and it
yes.
fills my head with such wonder because I think I mentioned my son does it professionally, and I've done a small amount of laying up with polymers, but I'm not an expert, and that's what you're here to tell us today is what's
For,
the
s-
difference, right?
for sure, for sure.
So first off, I have to ask you, what kind of a day is it for you today? Is it a good day or is it a bad day for you? I think,
I'm gonna say a fair day.
is that
Fair
right?
day. Yeah.
How do
And
you
so
gauge a good day or a bad day? Do you have any way that you make a display to the world, show yourself?
no deaths is probably a good start.
Oh yeah.
But it's sort of we got so many projects on the go.
Yeah.
So probably too many, to be fair.
Okay.
So we're more ambitious than we than we have the capacity at times. So, but Uh, a bad day is sort of it, we're very passionate at what we do.
Is that right?
So
Well, I'm just
uh,
looking at that nice little prop that you have on the desk or the
yes,
refrigerator there before you. Is that a good day or a bad day prop?
well, this is my warning for the staff. So it, if it's that way on my bench
Yeah,
facing them,
they can figure it out.
that's a bad day,
Yeah.
and that needs coffee. If it's that way, it's a good day.
Uh-huh.
So and they can come within 6 feet of me. So,
Okay, good.
but so yeah, that's a very instant sort of.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's walking past the box and you know which kind of mood he's in.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. So we try and keep little things just to sort of keep it humorous and
Uh,
light-hearted, and
Keep it lighthearted for sure. That's great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's sort of you remember why you're doing it and not to be a
Yeah.
fake and all the other bits and pieces as well.
Yeah.
So um, at the end of the day, we all got enough stresses and strifes at home and everything else. So it shouldn't really try and be brought into the workplace. And we're here to make some really cool stuff and some of the
Yeah.
best stuff that we can possibly do.
Yeah.
So, and some of the people that we meet and mix with this industry, like yourself,
Hmm.
uh, it's international, and we all got that common goal and that common love for the carbon fiber.
Yeah.
So,
And to
um,
think it started with Davis. That's amazing.
yes, yes, indeed. So, uh, it's so nice that you can it's such a common interest.
Hmm.
So and you can break that ice with people, and
Yeah.
you can upset a few people at the same time. But needless to say, but yeah, yeah,
So you've got some things to tell us, and you've also sent me a bunch of photographs so I can share um, online what some
for
of the
sure,
differences are. So why don't I even just let's start that right now.
for
I
sure, for
will
sure.
bring in the page, which is your messenger photos that you sent me. Now you sent me that you have essentially three different topics that you want to talk about today. You've got wet lay,
Yes,
pre-preg,
and I
and
think RTM is further up as well.
that's right. And yeah, resin transfer molding.
That's
Now
it.
I look at the RTM, the resin transfer molding, and as I look at it, it looks kind of similar to some of the stuff I've done, but not with carbon fiber. Could you
Yeah,
just tell us what RTM really is?
yeah, for sure. So resin transfer molding, especially with regards to sort of this stuff,
Hmm.
this actual product is one that's been made by Caterham.
Yes.
And what they do, they have a male and a female mold.
Hmm.
That mold is then clamped together
Hmm.
with the carbon fiber sort of laid inside of it.
Hmm.
The fabric at that point has no resins. It's got no epoxy to it at all. It's just a dry fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a port which they inject the resin into.
Yes.
If you look at the second slide,
Okay, I'll go into the second one. There we go.
that is the port where the resin has been going into the carbon fiber.
Okay, got it.
So it's not a bad process. I'll
Mm-hmm.
say you can obviously govern a certain amount of extent of how much resin is going into a part.
Mm-hmm.
Depending how much you clamp the part up, you can govern to a certain extent how thick the part is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So
How about penetration? Is it got the same sort of penetration as a complete wet, not a wet layup, but some of the how is the penetration using this technique?
I would say it's better than wet lay. So
Mm-hmm.
by all means, all what I'm saying now is my matter of opinion. There might be opposing or fors and against this.
Yeah.
So I find that resin transfer molding is a mid quality type of process.
Mm-hmm.
The penetration, I think, if you look at the net screen, we've actually sort of been quite sacrificial with this part. But
Mm-hmm.
this was still showing you where it's actually dye fabric.
Oh yeah.
The fabric, as you can see in the corners, have got quite diamond shape
Yes.
because there's no care, particularly in the laying of it. As
Yeah,
long
I
as that
understand. Mm-hmm.
top surface looks half decent,
Mm-hmm.
then when it clamps down, then that's as good as done.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to bear in mind that this process, once you clamped it up and you put the resin through to
Mm-hmm.
it, it's done in minutes. So there's not any kind of real massive time implication to it. And
Mm-hmm.
then once it's saturated with the resin, it's just then left to cure.
Mm-hmm.
So you can cure it in ovens, you can cure it sort of in air temperature with resin transfer. So you can do quite a few different ways of doing it.
Mm.
The same as resin transfer, you also got the resin infusion, which is very similar kind of style,
Mm-hmm.
where you got a dye fabric that would go into a mold.
Mm-hmm.
The fabric and the mold is put under a vacuum,
Mm-hmm.
and the resin is then drawn across the carbon fiber
Right.
and then sort of finished off at the end, sealed
Mm-hmm.
off, and then left to cure off.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking infusion, theoretically, you're talking about 60% of it is resin,
Yeah.
about 40% of it is cloth.
Okay.
So, and they try to, you can do a certain amount of calculation to sort of try and keep it very close to that. So, but you just got to bear in mind that the resin isn't what makes the carbon fiber strong.
Absolutely not at all. Yeah, I understand that
So,
completely.
and it's sort of the infusion you probably see quite a lot on some of the bigger parts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that a lot of places do as a sort of like as a standard.
Mm-hmm.
I think majority of the sort of OE parts are resin transfer molding.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice mass produced way of doing things. So if you
Mm-hmm.
look at the next slide,
Okay.
so you can see a little bit more kind of distortion.
Yes.
Just a little bit midway of that
Mm-hmm.
cursor, you can see there's that indentation.
Right.
So that's us shooting it with a pellet gun.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we just got to try and prove to ourselves and see what kind of damage it can do
Mm-hmm.
compared to the pre-preg.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the episodes, maybe next week's one, I think we're going to do a little bit of ballistic testing, shooting things, damping on things, driving over
Okay.
things. So, just to sort of show what we are happy with the carbon
Yes.
fiber.
Yeah.
So it could be a bit of fun. So a little bit of a does it blend kind of thing. So, but yeah, that will show the difference of that one. So
Okay.
yeah, I think you've got the next slide. I'm pretty sure it shows you there again the diamond in the corner of it.
I can see that. Yeah.
So it's nice, but it's not the money that they
It
charge
does.
nice.
It shows some distortion, and I would think, and I'm not the expert here, but just structurally, that has to be a little bit less sound. I would
Yes, I
think.
would have thought. I would have thought so. I would have
Yeah.
thought so.
Yeah.
And sort of, if you're going to pay good money for things, you might as
Mm-hmm.
well get good quality for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say we're 100% perfect. I think that'd be big-headed to say, but I would like to say that we're 99% more perfect than anybody else
Well,
is on the market.
Perfection is a pursuit. It's not a destination point.
For sure.
Yeah.
So seeing what the next slides are, you got looks like
We've got
another hole.
another. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other end of the K series ending cover. You can see in the top right hand corner, it's sort of a bit twisty and spirally.
Yes, I see. That's right up in this corner, or right up there and down here.
There's just no care. That's being sort of literally sort of manhandled to sort of either try and get in that area, or it might even be sort of a little bit post production. But sort of, as far as I've seen with their products, as I could be wrong, looks like it is just pure epoxy and the fibers.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've got to bear in mind, epoxy resin as standard isn't usually UV sealed or UV protected.
Oh, okay.
So when you get something like this product here, from Caterham, it will go cloudy. You will get the discoloration.
I've actually seen that on a Caterham, and I actually referred that particular owner to speak to my son for a remedy.
Sure. They're not doing any other steps to it, so it's literally as quick and as easy and cheaply as it could be made. Sort of when you got the yellow in, that's obviously UV damage as well to it. The cloudiness, that's a little bit more to it again, but I'll probably go on that in the episodes of like repair and restore and refinishing kind of side of things.
Right on.
So but yes, it's not brilliant. If you go, I think the next slide, I think we've got.
I think there's there's the last slide in the resin transfer molding section right here.
That's it. So you can see there's quite a few different little bullet holes all over the place. So it's sort of every time we've had a visitor so far, I think I've shot it and stamped on one of my bits, or still like at the very least. And every time people are shocked and surprised, and it has surprised me and how little people know the difference in what the quality is.
Yes.
So sort of, you can buy 2 bits of carbon fiber and it can be completely different, especially in cost, but also the quality and the longevity to it. So I'm hoping sort of this episode and further episodes is going to be a little bit more educational for people to not waste their money on bad carbon.
Well, that's right. I mean, there are people who are more, their pursuit or their interest is purely cosmetic, and for that reason, go for it. But for people who are looking for a race spec or competition spec type of finish, people will look more deeply into what they're getting.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So should we move on to the wet lay? Okay, I'm going to close out of there and scroll down into wet lay, and tell us all about wet lay.
Right. This is probably my pet hate.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like wet lay at all. So wet lay, you are getting a standard mold.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be anything particularly special.
Mm-hmm.
So people normally brush in a clear gel coat into it, and it helps a little bit with UV, and not
Mm-hmm.
brilliant. Depends on the quality of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it basically they put that in to try and avoid any kind of like defects or voids and anything else. The
Yeah.
fabric is then laid into it. They normally
Mm-hmm.
do it when the gel coat's a bit tacky,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and that helps sort of keep it stable.
Mm-hmm.
You wetting it out the same as you would do fiberglass.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. It's just like the stuff I've done before, and I'm kind of screwing up my face because I'm thinking somebody spent a substantial amount of money to buy some carbon fiber product, and just to lay it in like a reinforced fiberglass, just like, wow, why?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sort of. If you want to buy carbon from me, buy it from me. If you buy it from somebody else, just don't go for the wet lay stuff.
No, I agree.
Resin transfer, you're wanting to sort of try and keep a little bit of the pennies,
Mm-hmm.
but the wet lay, you never really guarantee exactly what you're
No,
buying.
no.
So here, so these are CSR wings that we were sort of passed over to. And sort
Mm-hmm.
of, it's almost like a sort of amnesty kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and bringing those ones in. So I think if we get into the next slide,
Mm-hmm.
so you can see some of the pit holes and everything else, and that's where some of
Yeah.
the gel coat is, and that cloudiness that you can see on the corners.
Mm-hmm.
So that is actually a build up of the gel coat.
Yeah.
So because the gel coat is not normally sprayed, normally
Mm-hmm.
brushed on,
Yeah.
you can't get an even coat. You can't
No.
guarantee that you're going to get it
Yeah.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so you imagine your carbon and resin is going to be sat on that layer underneath that gel coat, and
Yeah.
that gel coat isn't going to be perfect.
It's not going to penetrate either. It's just like not
No,
going to, you're not going to have
no,
strength.
for sure.
It's
So you're going to get
cosmetic.
delamination. The
Yeah.
gel coat is going to sag like it has in there into the
Mm-hmm.
corners,
Yeah.
and the fabric is still loose. So
Mm-hmm.
you try and put loose carbon fiber into something that's sticky.
Yeah.
If you see in the next slide,
Oh,
so,
I can see you in the next
hey,
slide.
let's go.
Let's try that again. There we go.
So you can see the distortion again on that one.
Yeah.
So it just, you can't control it. And
Uh-huh.
then on the next bit again, you can see there's more distortion there where the fabric just overlay into it.
Yes. Oh,
You,
yeah.
you can't cut it sharp. It's sort of
Well, the thing
that's
about,
had,
just from a cosmetic point of view, my background is not mechanical. I studied fine arts at university, and I look at this and I just say, they could do better. you know?
I've warned all my staff. I sort of said, you might know carbon fiber, but after sort of 3 months, you will become a carbon snob.
Yeah.
And sadly, you do. You start
Yeah.
looking for what is wet lay, what is pre-preg, what is
Mm-hmm.
anything else. And the other side of things of it, you start looking at redirections and orientations and just how much care or thought has actually gone into that process.
Yeah.
So I think on the next slide again,
Let's go to the next slide right there. Yeah.
you can see there's a little kind of like pocket hole again.
Yeah, right here. Yeah.
That is just a bubble in the gel coat.
Yeah.
So all that is just literally built up gel coat on that edge.
Ugh.
So I wouldn't be happy to send that out. So
No.
that's sort of, it's not a standard I like on that one.
Well, if I were receiving it, I would probably send it back. Just like,
You would think, but
Yeah.
people are running this. So and then go to the next slide again.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that all that is backed up with fiberglass.
Yeah.
So I think the next shot again is a little bit more close up again of it. So, and what's that all about?
I know. I was wondering that because you sent me these photographs, and I was saying, is this the process? Because it's very. I have never laid up carbon fiber, but I will. But I'm looking at this and I'm saying, what are they doing? This is a mixed message.
Put it to perspective, dry carbon fiber is around about 20, 25 pounds a square meter.
Yes.
So in something like that, it's not much. So it's probably what, like 10, 15 quid,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just dumped in a whole load of polyester
Yeah.
fiberglass on
Yeah.
top of it.
Yeah. Just a bunch
So
of matting and roving.
so the cost implications to that is pittance.
Yeah.
When if you look at something like a prepreg carbon fiber,
Uh-huh.
prepreg is 45, 50 pounds a square meter for
Well,
the stuff that we use.
and then the mold setup, the actual,
Oh,
that's a completely different discussion about what,
yeah, for sure.
the cost of I mean, putting it in the
Yeah,
mold, and then all the process to take
yeah,
it out of the mold, and all the discard. Once you've taken it out of the mold, there's so much of it is just like pure waste. It's gone.
yeah. It's,
People don't
I
understand that.
definitely not. I just
Yeah.
love the way that they add like a black dye to the resin
Hmm.
just to hide
Yes.
what it is and everything else. It's just like, oh,
I mean, to me, that looks horrible anyway. Just like
I just don't. Why do you want to cheat people like that? And sort of
yeah.
all our parts is full carbon fiber. There isn't
Hmm.
any fiberglass layers into it. There isn't any other sort of
No.
crap dial-in
Yeah.
or dyed fiberglass or anything else like that.
Oh yeah.
So
And when you want to add lightness, I wouldn't think you'd want to use that as your substrate.
for sure. And
Yeah.
then also from fiberglass, the binder that holds it all together,
Hmm.
specifically that one, is probably dissolved by polyester. So I
Hmm.
wouldn't even say that those parts are probably even made out of epoxy. I would have thought that might be a polyester resin that's into that,
Yeah.
which is going to be a lower class, lower
Yeah.
quality,
Hmm.
sort of, and it weighs a ton, absolute ton.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, why? So don't buy wet lay. I don't care, as I say, if you don't buy it from me or whatever. Don't buy wet lay. So that's the only real sort of strong education point on that bit. So.
Yeah.
Uh, the trouble is, it comes out, it looks nice and shiny. You can polish them; they look
Yeah.
nice and pretty, but it won't last. It won't
Yeah.
last. So, so yes.
Well, that's the end of that particular sequence. Shall we move forward to pre-preg, and you can tell us
Yeah.
what's going on there?
Yeah, move on to our last one.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I'm going to go to the first.
yes.
This is the stuff that I covet. I've watched so many videos on it. My son has made stuff for me out of this stuff. I drool when I see this stuff. To me, it's intoxicating.
It's lovely, absolutely lovely stuff.
Yeah.
It's silly expensive,
Hmm.
but you got to also bear in mind the epoxy and the hardness already built into these
Yeah.
fabrics.
Nice and
So
cold, nicely chilled.
yeah, we've got 2 test freezers that we keep our carbon fiber in at -18.
Hmm.
So, and then the next day we take them out, we defrost it so that we can then start using
Hmm.
that. So, once it's out of the freezer, you've probably got about 20 odd days sort of shelf life.
Yeah.
So, when they actually wet out the fabric before it gets frozen,
Mm-hmm.
they can actually govern the resin content to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that has 60% cloth, and it's normally got about 42% resin to it.
Yes.
So that's what's going to make it strong.
Yeah.
So
Strong and light.
yeah, definitely. We're fortunate. The company that we buy our pre-preg from, they supply people like ProDrive, Red Bull,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the motorsports. So, and because they're local to us, we have stock up with a nice relationship. So we are able to buy some of ends of rolls, short rolls, and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because we can do that, that reduces our cost price, and that reducing the cost price is why we can then be competitive with our prices.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
because
I would think it's also the product. I mean, when you compare, you have to
yeah,
compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. You just can't look at, for
yeah,
instance, the wet lay
for
to
sure.
anything like this. It's just like no.
The thing to be mindful of as well is when you get the roll of carbon fiber like that,
Mm-hmm.
it comes 45 degrees across the width of the roll.
Yeah.
So when you cut out things like rear rings and front cycles,
Mm-hmm.
where we do it OE style with the sort of, I say straight weave, but I know that graphically isn't correct.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was a visually straight weave looking part,
Mm-hmm.
we have to cut that out at 45 degrees out that
Yes, of
roll.
course. Yeah.
So if that's at 45 degrees, you can imagine there's two big triangles of waste.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah.
which is where we try to then manufacture some of the smaller bits to help compensate that.
Yeah.
But that is why they are that bit more expensive. If
Mm-hmm.
we wanted, or if customers wanted, we
Mm-hmm.
can look at doing 45 degrees front weaves,
Mm-hmm.
45 degrees front cycles, rear cycles, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the price will be more effective because obviously it reflects in sort of the amount of waste on that bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but if we move over to the next slide,
I'll try to do it without damaging it. There we go.
that's okay.
It worked out
So,
well there. There's an example of a smaller piece that you're going to take and utilize
yeah,
another way.
yeah, for sure. It just shows you that because the resin and the hardness already built into the fabric,
Yeah.
we can be quite precise with our cuts.
Yeah.
So this is where people need to pay the attention so that they can get it matched up nicely. You can get a herringbone smart
Mm-hmm.
to it. And then if you move into the next slide, you can see that you can lay it into any orientation. So we kind of make it look like it's a herringbone on that kind of aspect.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a little bit to show you on sort of one of the episodes on finishes on that kind of aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then on the other slides, we
Next slide.
have
That's another view of the same 7 looking down the weave from a different angle. Looks
that's
to me.
it.
Yeah.
That just shows you sort of obviously the herringbone ability
Mm-hmm.
and why we different, because we give a monkeys on that kind of aspect, and
Yeah,
you don't have those frayed ends like you saw on the wet lay one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then what do we have on the next page?
We have a rear wing. There we go.
This is obviously examples of the stuff that we do in pre-preg.
Mm-hmm.
All our stuff has been pre-preg. So these are pre-preg wrap-around stone guards, hugely popular. This is Steve Holland's car, absolutely beautiful. So these can clip on, you can put rivets on it, you can bond them on, do it any which way that you want to.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah, it sort of really complements and sort of with such a beautiful car, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's driven it for quite a few miles now,
Mm-hmm.
and he's reported back that they're still doing sort of really well. So I'm
That's
really
great.
happy with those.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've got a couple more examples of different bits that we.
Oh, there we go. A nice shiny one there.
Yeah, obvious circles. So as I say, the straight weave. So obviously the cost implications of it being that way.
Mm-hmm.
So and we'll go through a bit more on the finishing.
Look at all the cloth hanging up on the wall.
Yeah.
Would this be material that you've taken out of the freezer and waiting to lay up, or is this an example of other materials that you will use as structural components in a layup?
That is, well, we do also some skinning in here as
Okay.
well.
Oh, so that's your skimming material. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some photographs of that. That's terrific. I mean, talk about bling. That's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. So, and that's sort of almost like a carbon veneer kind of style way of doing
Uh-huh.
things.
Yeah.
So it's not fun. So, sort of, I think every kid in his bedroom is sort of trying to do that at the moment as well.
Yeah.
And
Let's
yeah, there's a lot
talk
of time.
talk about a little bit of bling. How do you
Yeah,
like that?
that's our little pre-preg then.
Yeah.
Obviously, we try and make it sort of as difficult for ourselves, sort of with
I
a
I
herringbone top and bottom.
I think I've mentioned this to you before, and I know we've discussed it. Um, and this is something that people who haven't worked with this product don't have an understanding of. You
Yes,
mentioned making it difficult for yourself. Not only have you made it difficult for yourself, you have to warehouse all of these molds.
yes,
You have
yes,
you know you make caterham parts or parts that to be applied to caterhams in each and every model.
yes.
And for to people don't understand, I don't think, that
No,
you have to go and fabricate a mold for each one of these vehicles, for each one of these parts, and each
for
one of
sure.
these molds has a life cycle, and then
Yeah,
when it's done, it has to be discarded, and then you have to make another. it's
definitely,
it's
definitely.
amazing business you have.
You've got to have an original part or
Uh-huh.
manufacture a plug.
Uh-huh.
So from that, we then make a mold from it. We've been moving into pre-preg sort of tooling system with it.
Yeah.
We're also looking at aluminium tooling systems just
Hmm.
for the longevity to it, because as you say, anything in composites has a lifetime to it,
Hmm.
and it looks like we're going to be around for a while. So I think we might as well start making some bloody good tools.
Yeah.
So the good thing with aluminium tooling is we can put engravements into it. So if we've
Oh.
got some of our sort of awesome people that we're working with,
Hmm.
we can put sort of their logos on it. They can have things like tech art into it,
Yeah.
and then we can actually lay the prepreg into it. And when
You
it
could
comes
even
out,
maybe even put a custom carbon logo on
yeah,
it. Should you?
yeah, we can. Let's go back to that episode of saying how I'm not into putting stickers on, isn't it? Again, so
I don't know. I think that
so
advertising can be is a double-edged sword, isn't it? I mean,
yes,
it can be just like in your face, and it can be tuned out if it's uh, too big, too much, too often.
yeah,
But discreetly pointing out where that you have something that is different. Hopefully, we're helping to show the difference with these little segments we're doing. I don't, from my perspective anyway, I think it's quite acceptable.
yeah. I think the difference.
I'm going to close this window. Is that all right with you? And so we can
Yeah,
get
go ahead.
ourselves back in. All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So I'm going to
So
close that out. And
I think the biggest difference is we actually care about what we do.
mm-hmm.
So we're not making stuff to make. We're not making stuff to make money. We're making stuff, but
You want to restate? I may have to edit that line out.
yeah, yeah, especially for the wife. So
Your wife is the accountant, right?
um, I'm not a rich man. I'm not a rich man doing this.
Yeah.
So, but we done it and we started doing it because we know that there isn't this quality available.
It's a
So
passion. You have to have it.
it's a passion. So and if we deliver the quality and we deliver stuff that's better than anybody else,
Hmm.
then other stuff will come along with it.
Yeah,
So um, you never know what doors open and what doors might close.
absolutely.
But so as long as we focus on our quality, and I am not too big or egoed
You're
to
not driven. You're
accept.
like me. You're not ego driven. I'm quite
No,
frankly a bit of a wallflower, generally speaking. But if it's something that I'm passionate about and believe in, for instance,
yeah.
sevens and my family is just like the whole thing, as far as I'm concerned.
If somebody wants to tell me it's crap and they think that something could be done better,
Hmm.
tell me. I'm not afraid to twist things, turn things. I'm
Yeah.
not
Well,
that set in stone. So
exactly the way I am. I don't believe in left and right. I just believe in what is right. And I don't want to be necessarily right. I just want to find my way
yeah,
to the right way. That's just the way it is for me.
you can't move forward unless you accept sort of
Yeah.
criticisms, can you?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Well, you know what? We've been going for 32 minutes and 20 seconds so far.
So hopefully we still got some people with us.
Oh yeah,
So,
I'm sure we do. But why don't we put a bow on this? And
yes.
why don't you just give us a maybe put it into the dream space? What can we look forward to in our next session? Do you think?
I think our next episode, I think we let's do a little bit more of a humorous one. Let's sort of show the strength of what the products are.
Okay, that sounds great.
So I think let's see. Sort of lucky enough we're on a farm, so
Hmm.
we might do another recorded slot beforehand,
Hmm.
and I'll see if I can get somebody with a tractor to drive over some bits and pieces,
Oh
or
dear.
uh,
We'll have to
so
do this in a recorded session. We definitely can't go live. We're not going to pull a neon. What is it, Elon Musk, and toss a steel ball at one of his windows and have it penetrate into this truck.
I swear that was deliberate, but I might get my military friend down over, and he can sort of try and shoot me, and see if I can deflect him with the power of poop egg. So, but it's yeah, uh, it's sort of. I think we should have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get some kind of animal that can come in and stand on top of a wing or something like that, or I don't know. See if I can get like a horse or something.
All right. We don't want to draw and quarter your carbon fiber, but yeah, we'll figure something out. So why don't we put a bow on it? And
Yes,
I'm going to say, David from Classic Carbon, why don't you have a good day?
and yourself.
All right. Cheers for
Hey,
now. And I'm looking forward to doing some quick editing, and we'll get this up and out as quick as we can. Cheers
no
for
problem at
now.
all.
All
Take care,
right.
my friend.
You
Bye
bet.
bye.
Bye.